Hey guys! Okay, so before the next couple of videos in this series on South Africa I'm doing come out, I wanted to quickly talk about some criticism I have gotten in the comment section and on Twitter. And first of all, I think it is totally legitimate criticism. It is people asking me, Lauren, why are you only focusing on white people in this country? Why are you focusing on white murders, white struggle, all of this? Is it some sort of like everyone in South Africa faces issues? The crime rates, they affect all the people here. I mean, I was talking to a woman from Zimbabwe the other day, and she was telling me she has to pretend to speak deep Zulu or be more Zulu than she is so that she doesn't get discriminated against on the bus. Like discrimination, crime, murder, it happens to everyone in South Africa. So why am I talking about white people? Well, there are two different reasons that I'm doing it. And the first one is the international coverage and what they decide to talk about. I'm sure some of you saw the other day, you had this woman, or young girl rather, in Toronto who said her hijab had been cut up by a man and it was some sort of hate crime. Maybe the local paper would talk about it. No. International papers all over talking about how this is a grave act of Islamophobia. This shows the hatred and racism in Canada. Even the freaking Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, did a whole speech on it talking about how this is horrible. Turns out, whole thing was false. Made up, didn't happen. Guess what? They don't even talk about it. They just shove it off to the side and it's like, oh, guess that didn't happen. In South Africa, you have families right now, young girls, I just saw a picture that just is burned into my mind, having their lips cut, Joker style, up to their ears. 4-year-old girls, entire families massacred, crucified, raped, and they're lucky if it makes the local freaking paper here. It's not covered worldwide as some horrific hate crime. It's not covered worldwide as just a massive injustice happening to these people. No, it doesn't get press coverage. It is not talked about at all. So that is why I'm focusing on some of the just horrors and atrocities that are happening against these farmers because of the lack of coverage. Now, there's also a flip side to this. Of course, not quite the level of farm murder attacks, but people here of all races are still murdered and deal with political corruption and everything. But there is, I'm actually going to give you an example for this. In America, a lot of people look at Donald Trump and they say he is a white supremacist, he is hateful, he is going to destroy the country and cause hate and division. That is what the mainstream media headlines say constantly. Yet, has he done any of the things they accuse him of? Has he taken away people's rights? Has he been oppressing certain groups and just stealing their stuff or speaking out against them, how they should kill them or shoot them? Now, imagine if he actually did that. If he actually came out and said, we should be shooting black people, shoot the black people, shoot the black people. You had Republican politicians actually saying that publicly. Imagine if Donald Trump announced today, I'm going to be confiscating all black people's land, their property, without compensation. That would be absolute chaos and madness in the international press. But it happens in South Africa. Literally that. They say they are going to confiscate white land without compensation. And you have politicians going up and saying, shoot the boar, shoot the boar.
Shoot to kill, shoot to kill, Yamasa, kiss the poor, the farmer.
They burn tires in the streets and the people and the civilians here say we need to kill the white people, and that is not talked about in the international press whatsoever. So that two-prong approach of, one, it is mainly white people being attacked and marginalized by the government. They are about 8% of the population here, and it's legitimate discrimination. It's not like our ridiculous, what we call discrimination in America, where someone gets called a bad name and it's an international headline. No, here they actually even have reverse affirmative action. It's economic black empowerment, I believe, is what it's called, where a ton of whites have just been fired from their job because they're white. And they say, oh, you've got 8% of the population. Well, then you should only be 8% of workers in government jobs and jobs across the country. So there is actual discrimination happening here in South Africa against white people. And it's that two-prong. The mainstream media is ignoring it. They're ignoring the massive injustices happening. And the government is actually discriminating against these people and not in the kind of SJW sense. So I hope that clears up the air for some of you guys. It is certainly not that I think there aren't injustices against other groups in this country. It is certainly not that I think there aren't other important stories involving the entire corruption here and the poverty and just the horrific things happening to all people in South Africa. But I'm focusing specifically on this one story because the other media refuse to report on it. It is politically incorrect to report on it. It is just taboo to talk about. And a lot of you support this channel because I'm willing to talk about a lot of these taboo subjects. So I hope you look forward to the rest of the videos in these series with that context in mind. We've got some great stuff coming forward that really needs to be talked about. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.